In this video, I'm gonna talk about Art of Rally. Let me tell you of a man called Albert. Albert was a rally nut. And by nut, I mean that he literally busted one to the idea of rallying. He was a die-hard fan who attended every event in person ever since the sport's inception. He reveled in the sight of cars flying by, and he absolutely refused to watch rallying on TV because nothing could beat the palpable feeling of a Subaru flinging mud straight at his ballsack as he ejaculated lakes and rivers in homage to his favorite motorsport. Albert then met a man called Bob. Bob had never heard of rallying in his entire life, so Albert gleefully described the motorsport to Bob. Bob then made a video game out of this romanticized spectator's rose-colored glasses interpretation. This is that video game in question. You do not have a co-driver. You do not have someone calling out the turns and the hazards in advance, because Albert never knew that this was a thing from his position on the sidelines. You are left to navigate blind turns with caution instead of wild abandon. The usual wall-to-the-balls racing is replaced with a constant fear that you will run off track and grab yet another 5-second penalty. Because Albert was never aware that there were people inside the car, he assumed that control was done from the helicopter following after it. Your view choices range between stratosphere and low Earth orbit. You are so far above the action that you can see the objects pop into view like magic, no matter how high you have put your graphical settings, up to and including high enough to turn your frame rate into a PowerPoint presentation. Fortunately, because Bob has a passion for his craft, he gave his best effort with what little and misguided information he got, and he produced a dreamy and heavenly environment to use as one's playground. The sun is shining, the colors are vibrant, everything is pink and green and blue, and there are plenty of trees and obstacles to run into. Your biggest obstacle will be by far the invisible lines some way off either side of the road, which prompts the game to interrupt your bushwhack by fading to black and putting you back on the track so you can form a new plan of attack. Whether you can cut a corner or not is something that you have to figure out the hard way, and some corners are definitely more forgiving than others. My personal hint is that wide sweeping curves come with some leeway, while chicanes are like playing a game of operation. Controls involve an accelerator button, brake button, steering buttons, handbrake button, optional shift buttons, and an even more optional clutch button on the off chance that you masturbate to total control to such an extent. For all things American transmission, a keyboard works fine, but you might want to consider using a controller if you are intent on pushing more than just the basic buttons. Mind you, there are additional settings to adjust the sensitivity of the counter steer, the field of view, and how much the camera's rotation favors which way your car is pointed versus which way your car is actually going. You will want to experiment with all of these in order to find what is right for you. I do not know what is right for you, but it definitely is not the default settings. Your selection of locales include Forest Land, Snowland, Brownland, Tankland, and Weeaboo Land. Depending on your time of viewing, there may or may not be a DLC featuring Africa Land, and this DLC may or may not cost money. Each environment has its own unique quirks, of course, with Forest Land being easy to navigate, and Tankland seeking every opportunity to give you unsolicited anal sex. The game has 5 modes. Career puts you in rallies divided by car class, with each event being a randomly chosen locale. Custom Rally lets you choose the event length and which stages to run. Time Attack has you running a single stage to compare your best time against the online leaderboards. Online Events is a time attack where the game has chosen everything for you. Free Roam lets you explore each locale and pick up collectibles to unlock a small handful of goodies. Supposing that all you care about is completing the game at a basic level, the free roam and the career mode will keep you occupied for roughly 20 hours. All of the extra time past that will involve improving your time attacks for the sake of bragging rights, or unlocking the achievement that demands you complete 1000 stages. To give you an idea of the task at hand, the entire career mode has you doing a little over 200 stages. You are implicitly encouraged to experiment, and the free roam is perfect to try out some car before you commit to a rally. Even if you end up making the wrong decision, it is not like you will get demoted to bronze rank or suffer a permanent black mark on your record. Picking a car at random is perfectly viable at the normal difficulty level, and your ride is damn near invincible with the default damage settings. The whole experience has got one half of realism for people who enjoy hardcore experiences, and one half of not realism for people who are just getting started. The weird part is that the two halves are distributed in places that I did not expect. I am not sure how to describe it. It is like they create a third half that is definitely not possible on paper, despite existing in front of your face. Inside of one single package is something that is inspired by the real deal, but it has been made palatable for the masses who do not fetishize it like Albert does. There are experiences that are more true and pure out there, but this one gets you into the close enough range when you want to satisfy an everyday craving, and nobody is going to bat an eye at your choice. It serves the job of giving thrills to the casuals and of being a gateway drug for the hardcore in training. In short, this game is a California roll.